You cradle the memory of that fracture as if it were a precious relic, a testament to what once tore you open. You remember the moment the blade slipped, the crack that yawned across your spirit, and the way the world felt colder in that sudden silence. You have carried that wound for years, tending its edges with cautious fingers, afraid that any careless touch would widen the tear beyond repair. But today you will let the split gape. Today you will hold it open as one holds a lantern before a hidden path, illuminating not your weakness, but the threshold to everything you could become. You stand before the fissure like an archaeologist before an ancient vault, tracing the jagged line with reverent eyes. You sense the rawness of the stone and flesh both, each fragment of memory bound up in the fracture, each shard of emotion a facet of your power. You have been taught to see wounds as failures, to slam them shut with denial, with distraction, with the hurried bomb of outward achievements. But the deepest truths rarely lie in perfection. They emerge in the cracks, in the places where light slips in unnoticed, where beauty waits in silent resilience. You edge closer, breathing into the hollow of your chest where shame and grief have long nested. You exhale those heavy lodgers into the cavern, inviting them to drift free. You imagine the wound widening not in collapse but in invitation, as though a great stone door is sliding open to a secret chamber within you. You feel the air shift, cool and trembling, carrying the scent of possibilities unfurled. The darkness beyond the break does not threaten. It beckons with the quiet assurance that you have been invited into the alchemy of transformation. You let your fingertips brush against the fractured edges, rough, uneven, alive in their own right. You realize this condition of being broken has also made you agile, resourceful, attuned to nuance. The wound has tuned your senses to the tension between what was and what might yet be. You remember how the shattered earth after an earthquake blooms with green shoots, how broken bones heal stronger, how scars can become the map of your survival. You have been avoiding this truth, fearing that honoring the wound would trap you in its pain. Instead, you will celebrate its potential as the doorway to a deeper self. You pause, inhaling deep. You permit the weight of every regret to settle into the floor. You let the old script dissolve, that you must close cracks to avoid letting weakness in. You rewrite the grammar of your inner world. Cracks are doorways, openings into greater strength, gateways through which your true self can pass. You have spent so long kneading plaster over the walls of your heart, smoothing every roughness to maintain a facade of unbroken control. But that facade has cost you the texture of truth, the color of raw existence. In the hush that follows, you hear the distant whisper of your own longing. You hear it say, "Step through." You recognize that the wound has not merely divided you, it has created a portal. You might not see the full expanse on the other side, but you feel its pulse, a new rhythm syncing with your own. You stretch your neck, lean forward, and peer through the opening. The darkness yields a shimmer of light, faint gold like dawn's first breath, promising more than you have dared to dream. You step forward, foot after trembling foot, crossing that threshold. The world behind you grows dim, the weight of past versions slipping away like discarded garments. You feel for a moment the vertigo of newness, how it feels to walk into air that has not yet been shaped by your fears. You breathe again and notice the clarity of the space, every thought sharp, every sensation vivid. You are no longer defined by the scar. You are defined by the courage it took to honor it, to open it wide. You walk on a floor of possibilities, each tile a story waiting to unfold. You sense the architecture of your future forming around you, built on the foundation of that very crack. You realize that every person you have been and every lesson you have learned are the stones that line the corridor. The fracture did not weaken you. It created this passage, carving you into a vessel capable of holding more light than you ever imagined. You let your hands hover at your sides, imagining the tactility of each new surface, The cool smoothness of resolve, the rough grain of determination, the polished warmth of authenticity. You feel the echo of your own footsteps, a rhythmic affirmation that you are moving forward. Whenever doubt gnaws at you, you need only look back at that widening doorway, bathed in soft luminescence, to remember that you have been called through. You pause beneath a vaulted ceiling of effervescent intention. You realize rituals can anchor this passage. You decide, in the quiet conviction of this moment, to honor this doorway each day. At dawn, you will speak its name. My wound is my gateway. In the stillness of night, you will bow before it, offering gratitude for the fracturing that released you. Each ritual is not a clumsy attempt to seal old pain, but a living testament to your rebirth. You turn your gaze forward and sense doorways beyond this one, corridors of countless chambers yet unvisited. You understand that healing is not a linear path, but a labyrinth. You will revisit that initial crack, you will discover others born from new trials, and each will serve the same purpose, to open you ever wider into your own becoming. You accept that your life will be a continuous dance between fractures and formations, between loss and creation. You step again, driven by a hunger that only the unbroken center of your soul could produce. You summon the image of your past self, tremulous at the edge of that doorway, and you whisper, "Look how far you've come." You realize the true gift of this threshold is not what lies on the other side, but the transformation of every cell in your body as you dare to traverse it. You once feared breaking. Now you honor every crack as the sign of your evolution. You gather the shards of your past like precious gemstones. You hold them up to the light filtering through the portal. Some dull, some brilliant, each carrying the weight of its own story. You feel gratitude for the way each fracture refracts your inner luminance, scattering it into facets of empathy, resilience, and wisdom. You cradle those shards against your heart, knowing they are the currency of your authenticity. You carry this truth with you into the world, that wounds are not merely reminders of what went wrong, but invitations to what can go right. You speak this in your posture, in the way you meet someone's gaze, in the choices you make when convenience tempts you to close your heart. You let people witness the jagged line of your own becoming, and in their witnessing, you catalyze their own courage. You realize the deepest intimacy arises not in perfect facades but in shared vulnerability. When you bring others through your doorway, when you show them the crack in the light beyond, you offer them permission to honor their own. You create a ripple, one wound honored, one gateway opened, one soul set free. You pause in the expanse of your passage and whisper a final vow, to never plaster over the cracks again. Each fissure will remain an open door, a testament to your continuous emergence. You will build your life around these portals, mapping them, illuminating them, stepping through them with fierce reverence. You will embrace the raw edges, the unhealed seams, as the finest work of your soul's artisanry. You smile not in triumph over pain, but in triumph of possibility. You stretch your arms wide as though embracing the entire cathedral of your becoming. You feel the light wash over your skin, warming the places that fear once stiffened. You bow your head in a silent benediction. Gratitude for the wound, for the doorway, for the alchemy that turned your fracture into a way forward. You rise, feet planted firmly in the portal's glow, and walk on, knowing that every step beyond the crack is a step into freedom, into power, into the sacred truth that your wound was never your undoing but your origination.